Guys, please confirm to me. All of you are getting my voice on screen. Who's returning in online? Guys, please confirm to me. All of you are getting my voice on screen. Who's returning in online? Please confirm to me, guys. All of you are getting my voice on screen. Who's returning in online? Check it. That's it. And check it. What we completed in our classes there. Almost all coming to the ending point of differences between Java and others. Almost all 8 differences we completed. Now we are discussing about ninth difference. Differences between Java and others, ninth point. Here we are discussing. Alright, sir. Now coming to the differences, just list out what are the various differences we understood up to now. Or else might leave this one. I will give the total overall view of completion of this point. So we are able to get some clarity on this now. Now tell me, sir, in C and C++, integers are able to take 2 bytes of memory, char is able to take 1 byte of memory, but in Java, integers are able to take 4 bytes of memory, characters are able to take 2 bytes of memory. This is the difference we can identify. Clear? Now, I will give some clarity, try to understand this point. First of all, if you observe this total point, memory allocation for primitive data types in C and C++ is not fixed, it is variable, and it is depending on the operating system which we use. All of you are getting my point, what I am saying to you? Memory allocation for primitive data types is not fixed in C and C++. It is depending on the operating system which we use. Understand it? But in Java, use any type of operating system, that doesn't matter. Use any type of operating system, that doesn't matter. Irrespective of the operating systems, memory will be allocated for primitive data types in Java. That is, in Java, fixed memory allocations are available for primitive data. So, all of you are getting it or not? So, what is the point I am telling to you clearly? In C and C++, memory allocation for the primitive data, is not fixed. It is a variable, and it is depending on the operating system which we use. It is depending on the operating system which we use. But in Java, memory allocation for the primitive data types, is fixed. In Java, memory allocation for primitive data types is fixed, irrespective of the operating system which we use. That's it. This is what exactly the point we can understand about like which one now? Memory allocation now. Right, sir? Good. One point is very clear. In a C and C++, memory allocation is depending on the operating system. So I can conclude C and C++ are platform dependent. Even in this direction also, I can conclude C and C++ are which one there no platform dependent. But in the case of Java, what is going on now? Tell me. In the case of Java, use any operating system. Operating system may be anything, that doesn't matter. But memory allocation for primitive data types is fixed. Memory allocation for primitive data types is fixed. Good. What is that fixed memory allocations for the primitive data types in Java? What exactly the fixed memory allocations? I want to know. Right, sir. For this, I am giving clarity to all of you. Try to understand it now. Memory allocation for a primitive data types is fixed, but how? Byte data type will take 1 byte. Short data type will take 2 bytes. Int data type, integer data type will take 4 bytes of memory. Long data type is able to take 8 bytes of memory. Like what next one? Float data type it able to take 4 bytes of memory. Double data type it able to take 8 bytes of memory. Then after that, char data type is able to take 2 bytes of memory. Boolean data type is able to take 1 bit, not even byte, 1 bit. That's it. This is fixed allocations, fixed memory allocations for the primitive data types. This is fixed memory allocations for which one? Primitive data type. That's it. This is the overall view. Here we can understand clearly. All right, sir. Now, understand this once again. What exactly the point I said to you? In a C and C++, memory allocation for a primitive data types is a variable, is not fixed. That is totally depending on the operating system which we use. But in Java, memory allocation for a primitive data types is fixed irrespective of the operating system which we use. Irrespective of the operating system which we used, memory allocation for a primitive data types is fixed in the case of Java. Through this, we can give conclusion C and C++ are platform dependent, whereas Java is which one? Platform independent. What is memory allocation for a primitive data types in the case of Java? Fixed memory allocations now. Byte will take 1 byte of memory, short will take 2 bytes of memory, int will take 4 bytes of memory, long will take 8 bytes of memory, again float will take 4 bytes of memory, double will take 8 bytes of memory, char will take 2 bytes of memory, boolean will take 1 bit, not even byte, 1 bit. Okay, fine. But immediately I have a question now. Immediately I have a question now. All of you observe this clear. What is my question now? My question is very clear. In now, listen carefully. In now, C and C++, 1 byte of memory is sufficient. 1 byte of memory is sufficient to store characters data. In C and C++, 1 byte of memory is sufficient to store characters data. Then, what is the requirement to assign 2 bytes of memory for characters in Java? Why Java is taking 2 bytes of memory for characters? Since C and C++ required 1 byte of memory for characters. In C and C++, 1 byte of memory is sufficient for storing characters. Then why Java is taking 2 bytes of memory for characters? This type of question immediately here we are getting now. So further I am giving clarity. Try to understand it, all of you know. Points are very clear. In a C and C++, listen sir, all of you listen carefully. In a C and C++, all characters are represented in the form of ASCII values. To store ASCII value, 1 byte of memory is sufficient. 2 bytes of memory is not required. 1 byte of memory is sufficient. Because of this reason, 1 byte of memory is required in the case of C and C++ for characters. But in the case of Java, All characters are represented in the form of Unicode. All characters are represented in the form of Unicode. To store any Unicode value, how much memory is required? 1 byte is not sufficient. 2 bytes of memory is required. To store Unicode values, 1 byte of memory is not sufficient. There we require 2 bytes of memory. That's it. This is the total meaning of like which one can know Unicode representation. That means, and why Java require 2 bytes of memory for its characters. Right, sir. Come again. What exactly the points I'm telling to you clearly? In C and C++, all characters are represented. Characters are represented in the form of ASCII values. Right, sir. Wherein C and C++, wherein C and C++, to store ASCII values, 1 byte of memory is required. Is sufficient. 1 byte of memory is sufficient to store ASCII values. Good. This is in the case of C and C++. But what is the case in Java? What I give you clarity now? In Java, in case of Java, for example, in case of Java, right, sir, all characters are represented. All characters are represented in the form of, which ones are in the form of, now tell me no, Unicode representations. Unicode representations, wherein Java applications to store Unicode values, Java has to assign 2 bytes of memory. 2 bytes of memory is required to store Unicode values. In case of Java, all characters are represented in the form of Unicode representations, wherein Java applications to store Unicode values, Java has to assign 2 bytes of memory. That's it. This is what exactly the meaning of like which one can know, like memory allocation for like which one characters in the case of C and in the case of C++ and Java. In C and C++, ASCII values. ASCII values required 1 byte of memory. In case of Java, Unicode representation. So 2 bytes of memory will be assigned for like which one characters in the case of Java. That's okay, fine. Now this is what we completed clearly. Leave this content cap. It is completed now. Then immediately we have one more question. If you understand this total question here, we are having one more question. So what about my question now? My question is, what is Unicode and what is its requirement in Java? What is Unicode and what is its requirement and what is its requirement in Java? This is the point here we have to understand. What is Unicode and what is its requirement in Java? So we have to understand this. That's it. Getting clarity or not? Now, observe this point now. All of you, observe this point. Unicode is one of the character representation. ASCII is one of the character representation. UTF is one of the character representation. UTF-8, UTF-16 is a character representation. Similarly, Unicode is one of the character representation. Good. Why Java is stick with this Unicode? What is advantage of it? Its advantage is very clear, very good advantage. It able to represent all the alphabets in all the natural languages. It able to represent all the alphabet of all the natural languages. I can represent Telugu letters in the form of Unicode. I can represent the Hindi letters in the form of Unicode. I can represent Japanese letters, Chinese letters. That means it able to represent all the letters. That means all the alphabet from all the natural languages. That is the advantage of which one? No, Unicode. Right. So what's the point I'm telling to you clearly? Unicode is one of the character representation. Unicode is one of the character representation. Then it able to represent all the input alphabet, all the alphabet from all the natural languages. Like which one you know? Hindi, English, right? Sir. Hindi, English, and next one is we can provide some local languages like which one you know? Telugu, Tamil, and so on, and so on. Chinese language, Japanese language, German and Italian, and so on. All the languages here. Okay, fine. Unicode is able to represent all the letters from all the languages. That's okay. That we understood. Then what is the advantage of it? What benefit we are getting by representing all the alphabet through, like which one? Natural languages now. What's the benefit of it? So I am giving benefit now, and it will provide internationalization support. And it will provide which support? Internationalization support. Unicode is one of the character representation. It is able to represent all the alphabet from all the natural languages like Hindi, English, Telugu, Tamil, and so on. And it will provide internationalization support. Right, sir. And it will provide internationalization support. Understand it clearly. This is exactly the meaning of like which one you know? Like internationalization support and Unicode representation here. We can provide this clearly. Is it clear or not? So this is the total point here we can understand about this Unicode here. But I have still one more question. What is my question here? What is internationalization? This is my question. What is the meaning of internationalization? Good. After this point now, I'll give some clarity on this internationalization part. So the point about this internationalization is like which one? Come, take this immediately. That's it. Now come for it. What is internationalization? That internationalization is like which one here? Preparing Java applications with respect to local conventions. Preparing Java applications with respect to local conventions is called as like which one? No, internationalization. I'll take some examples. I want to prepare Java program. I'm preparing Java application. What this Java application capability? If I give input to data in a Telugu, Java program has to take that Telugu input. It has to process the Telugu input and it will give output in Telugu. If I give my input in Hindi, Java program will take that Hindi input and it will process Hindi input and it will provide output in Hindi. Means that we can give our local input to data. Our programming language has to take that, our program has to take that, it has to display that output as per our local conventions. If you get my point or not? So the point is very clear. Designing Java applications with respect to the local conventions. See, in general, in outside, what I am telling you, from language to language, country to country, understand it, from location to region, conventions are varied. Some conventions are varied. Some examples I'm telling to you. Just simple example, your cricket scoreboard. It might be an Indian continent, if the matches are going on, that cricket scoreboard is available like which one now? Runs by wickets, runs/wickets. But the same thing if you observe at Australia or maybe England or maybe New Zealand, then how the cricket scoreboard is available? Wickets by runs. Variation is available or not? See, don't think about it. When the matches are going on in Indian continent, a separate software is used. When matches are going on in Australia and Europe, like which one, England, separate software is used. No, don't think like that. Software is same. But depending on the locality, that outputs are generated. So this type of support is exactly called as which one? No, internationalization. Depending on the local users, giving support as per their understanding. That is called as which one? Internationalization. Not even that. Nowadays, every global resources, they are maintaining this internationalization support. Just one example I am telling you. Whenever we are trying to prepare, whenever we are trying to prepare uh, Gmail account or maybe Yahoo Mail account, some Facebook account, for example, registration form will come. In that registration form, there are two fields. Which fields are there? Language and country. Why these registration forms are taking language and country fields from you? Reason is which one? Right. After completion of your registration process now, your inbox has to be displayed or not? Your mail page has to be displayed or not? That mail page labels and headers and everything will be available in the respective specified language only. For example, if a specific China is a language, and my China is like which one country? Chinese is a language. If you specify like that, after completion of this registration now, immediately mail page is open for it. In that mail page, what I'm able to get now? I'm able to get that compose button in Chinese language. Inbox is in Chinese language. Outbox is in Chinese language. Sent is in Chinese language. Well, if you're getting it or not. So the total service we are getting in the form of China language. Similarly, if you specify language is Japanese, country is Japan, then we are able to get the total mail page in the Japanese language. Is my point? But Gmail application is same, single application. But depending on our locality, we are getting our services or not. Not even Gmail, that frequently used thing like which one can know, frequently used thing like which one here, Google. Understand it? In Google, in the Google search bar, bottom of that, hyperlinks are available. You can up to this. Number of hyperlinks are available. What are the various hyperlinks here? We are able to see there. Language related hyperlinks here, we are able to see that. What are all these things? What is the meaning of this hyperlink? Let's say, for example, if I click on Hindi, you understand this clearly? We are getting like everything in Hindi or not? Answer my point clearly now. Right, sir. Let's say, for example, if I click on like a Tamil, I think so. In the form of Tamil, we are getting. So now here, Marathi. In Marathi language here, we are getting all. So something else like which one? Kannada. In Kannada, here we are getting it. Similar in Telugu. If you click on Telugu here we are getting it. Right, sir. Understand my point or not? So what's the meaning of it here? What is the meaning of this particular point now? Google application is same, single application, but it is giving services in a locality or not? This kind of support is nothing but which one? Internationalization. Right. To provide this internationalization, we need to represent and recognize all the natural languages alphabets or not. If I select Telugu letters must be recognized in our Google application or not. If I click on Kannada letters must be recognized or not. Hindi letters must be recognized or not. So I need a common data representation. It able to represent all the alphabets from all the natural languages. It has to represent all the alphabets from all the natural languages. In that way, I require like which one can know. In that way, I require exactly this which one can know this particular representation, character representation. That character representation is which one? Unicode representation. That character representation is called as which one? No, Unicode representation. So finally, here what is the point I am telling to you? What is internationalization support? That point here I need to give here. So designing Java applications with respect to the local conventions, local users or maybe local conventions is called as internationalization. Right, sir. Designing Java applications with respect to the local conventions is called as which one? No, internationalization. This is the simple analysis here we can understand what's the meaning of internationalization. Tell me, sir, what exactly the last point? What exactly the point here I discussed about this total internationalization or maybe total this last point, no? I given complete awareness on this particular point. Try to understand it, all of you know. So what is it? What is it? Actual ninth difference here we are discussing actually. What was this ninth difference actually? Now the point is in C and C++ memory allocation for the primitive data is not fixed. It is variable and it is depending on the operating system which we use. But in Java, memory allocation for primitive data types is a fixed irrespective of the operating system which we use. Right, sir. What are the various? What are the various data types are available in Java? What their memory allocations? If you have to there, byte will take 1 byte, short will take 2 bytes of memory. Then what next one here? After completion of this, short int will take 4 bytes of memory, long will take 8 bytes of memory. After this long, then what next one here? Float will take 4 bytes of memory, double will take like which one? 8 bytes of memory, char will take like which one here? No, 2 bytes of memory, and boolean will take like how much memory here? No, boolean will take like 1 bit. Immediately we have a question. What about this question now? In a C and a C++, 1 byte of memory is sufficient to store characters data. And what is the requirement to assign 2 bytes of memory for characters data in Java? Characters in Java. Answer for this question is very clear. In a C and a C++, all characters are represented in the form of ASCII values. Where in C and C++ to store ASCII values, 1 byte of memory is sufficient. In case of Java, all characters are represented in the form of Unicode representations, where in Java applications to store Unicode values, Java has to assign 2 bytes of memory. Right, sir. So what is Unicode and what is its requirement in Java? If you observe this point, answer is clear. Understand it clearly. So Unicode is one of the character representation. It able to represent all the alphabet from all the natural languages like Hindi, English, Telugu, Tamil, and so on, and it will provide internationalization support. The note kind of point is like which one? No, designing Java applications with respect to the local conventions is called as which one? No, internationalization. That's it. This is the total awareness here we can understand about like which one? No, internationalization. That's it. So one question is coming. What is primitive data? Right. Then answer is very clear. In every programming language, some data types are minimum. Which data types are minimum, sir? To represent data, some types are available. What are these types now? Int, long, float, double, boolean, character. And these data types are minimum. In the case of Java, byte and short also. These data types are minimum. So these data types are treated as which one? Primitive data types. See, two types of data types are available in Java. One is primitive data types, and another one is user-defined data types. User-defined data types are like which one they know? Classes, interfaces, and so on. Arrays, and these are. But primitive data types are fundamental data types. What are these fundamental data types now? A byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, character. So these are 8 number of primitive data types. To represent data at a primitive side. To represent data at basic level, we are going to use these data types clearly. Right, sir. Totally differences between Java and others. The total topic is completed here. Just I want to give total review of all the concepts what I completed. I want to give the total review of all the concepts what I completed. Then after that only I will start new topic. Now still we are in introduction part. Inside this, the difference is a lengthy topic that we completed. Next we need to go for which one? Java features. But before moving that, I want to rush up all the concepts what I completed. Yes, sir. Let me discuss about all these points now. Just 5 minutes of time. I want to complete the total part here. So let us check this. I think all of you are having some description also for this. Let me check this. All of you know. So initially I started like which one here? The total syllabus I given almost all 34 topics here we provided. Just you can think of them. Then more than 4 more topics are going to be added for the syllabus. I will do that. Introduction part I started Java history, differences between Java and others, Java features, Java naming conventions, Java programming format. So these are the topics which are available inside which one? Introduction part. So Java history we started, nothing about Java history. Just we are given some points about this Java history, not more than that. So even it is not required for us. Now just leave this one. Next we started immediately differences between Java and others, C and C++ others in the sense. What are the various differences given? Right, sir. Just try to listen. What exactly the point I'm telling to you? You will recollect all the points. You may remember that. Then after that, I will share these diagrams and documents to all of you. I will create one channel through that I will share. Whatever up to now, whatever the things I completed, I will share to you. Topic by topic, I will share to all of you. We can use it. Running notes, whatever the notes I'm preparing, definitions and all, that and diagrams. I'll share that to you. Just wait for a minute. Let me rewind all the points. First point, what I have discussed with you, C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is which one? Dynamic programming language. What is static programming language? What is dynamic programming language? If any programming language allows its applications, like which one? To allow memory allocation at compilation time, then the programming language is static programming language. Examples are C and C++. If any programming language allows memory allocation at runtime, then that programming language is called as which one? Dynamic programming language. Example is which one? Java. In C and C++, memory allocation is provided by compiled at compilation time. In the case of Java, memory allocation is provided by JVM at runtime. This one. Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. So first of all, what is the purpose of preprocessor? The main purpose of preprocessor in C and C++ programs is to recognize hash include statements and to load the specified header files content to the memory. That's the purpose of preprocessor. Good. In case of C and C++, header files are mandatory, hash include statements are mandatory. To recognize them, to load header files to the memory, we need which one? Preprocessor. But in the case of Java, preprocessor is not required. Why? Because in the case of Java, header files are not available and hash include statements are also be not existed. In the case of Java, like classes and interfaces in the form of packages are available, and to include them, import statements are available. So header files and hash include statements are not existed in the case of Java. So Java does not require like which one? Preprocessor. If hash include statements and header files are available, then Java is also required which one? Preprocessor. But all these two things are not available, then that means Java does not require which one? No, preprocessor. Then immediately here I give you one interview question. What about this question here clearly? So what are the differences between hash include statement and import statements? This question here I given clearly. Yes, sir, am I right or not? So what are the answers here are given there? Almost all are given nearly 5 answers now. First answer is which one here now? Hash include statements are exist in C and C++. Import statements are exist in Java. Hash include statements are used to include the predefined library, which is exist in the form of header files. But import statements are used to include the predefined library, which are exist in the form of which one? No, classes and interfaces in packages. Hash include statements are recognized by preprocessor. Import statements are recognized by compiler and JVM. Hash include statements are supporting static loading, whereas import statements are supporting which one? No, dynamic loading. So next one is which one? By using single hash include statement, we are able to include only one header file. To include more than one header file, we must use more than one hash include statement. Similarly, by using single import statement, we are able to include more than one class or interface of the same package. That's this what we completed clearly. Next one is C++ required destructors, but Java does not require which one? Destructors. What's the meaning of it now? First of all, what is destructor? In object-oriented programming languages, data must be stored in the form of like objects. So if you want to store data in the form of objects, first we have to create object, next we have to destroy that objects. To create objects, we will use constructors. To destroy objects, we will use like which one? Destructors. So in the programming languages like Java, to destroy the objects, destructors are not required. Why? Because Java has garbage collector to destroy the objects. Because of this garbage collector, destructors are not required by the developers. But in the programming languages like C++, where like which one? The garbage collector is not available. When garbage collector is not available, there what we are having there? There we are having like which one? No. There we are having like which one? Destructors. Destructors are required. That is one point. Next one is after completion of this content, C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages, but Java is platform independent programming language. So what is this actually? If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution on the same operating system, then that programming language is called as which one? Platform dependent programming language. If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution on the same operating system, then that programming language is called as which one? Platform dependent programming languages. C and C++ are examples for it. If we compile C and C++ program on Windows operating system, .exe file will be generated with the Windows representation. If we want to execute that Windows represented .exe file, definitely we require Windows operating system at runtime. If we provide other operating system, execution is not going to be performed. If we provide the same operating system where we compile it, then only execution is performed. So this nature is nothing but like which one, platform dependent programming languages. Then what about platform independent programming language? If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation is on one operating system and execution is on another operating system, then that programming language is called as platform independent programming language. All of you observe these points clearly, no? Right, sir. Java is an example for it. In the case of Java, what is going on? When we compare Java program and Windows operating system, data class file is generated. Data class file contains bytecode. It is an intermediate code. It is not like executable code. But if we want to run it on any of the operating system, we require local operating system represented bytecode. So to convert this a neutral bytecode to local operating system represented bytecode, we are going to use some converters. The converters are provided along with execution process only, so that execution as well as the translation or conversion both are provided in a single device. That single device is called as which one? JVM. So Java is a platform independent programming language because of JVMs only. Java is a platform independent programming language because of JVMs only, but JVM is a platform dependent. But JVM is like which one? Platform dependent. Not only JVM, then not only JVM, the total Java software is which one? No, platform dependent. Then immediately we have a question now. What about this question clearly? So what are the differences between .exe file and a .class file? What are the differences between .exe file and a .class file? So number of answers are available. First one is which one? .exe files are exist in C and C++, whereas .class files are exist in Java. .exe file contains directly executable code. .class files contains bytecode. It is not directly executable code. .exe file is platform dependent, whereas .class file is a platform independent. .exe file is providing less security for the data, whereas .class files are providing more security for the data. That's okay, fine. Next one is another point about this content is which one? Pointers topic. Pointers are exist in C and C++, but pointers are not exist in Java. Then first of all, I give you definition for what is a pointer. So pointer variable are the normal variables which are able to store address locations of the data structures. Where data structures may be a normal variable, or maybe an array, or maybe a structure, or maybe another pointer variable. Good. In general, pointer variables are recognized and initialized at the time of compilation only, not at runtime. Right, sir. Why pointers are not exist in Java? This question here we are getting. Why pointers are not exist in Java? Nearly 5 reasons are available. What are the 5 reasons why pointers are not exist in Java? Pointers require static memory allocation, but Java is following dynamic memory allocation. Pointers are supported by static programming languages, but Java is a dynamic programming language. Pointers are very much suitable in platform dependent programming languages, but Java is a platform independent programming language. Pointer variables are able to reduce security for the application data, but Java is more secure programming language. It must provide very good security for the data. Pointers is a bit confusion oriented feature, but Java is very simple programming language. It must not provide confusion to the developers. Next, after completion of this, what is the difference between pointer variables and reference variables? This question here we are getting an answer is very clear. Pointers are exist in C and C++, but reference variables are exist in which one? Java. Next one, pointer variables are able to refer a block of memory by storing address locations, whereas reference variables are able to refer a block of memory that is an object by storing object reference values. Your object reference value is hexadecimal form of hash code, where hash code is an unique identity provided by heap manager in the form of like which one? Integer value. Pointer variables are recognized and initialized at the time of compilation, whereas reference variables are recognized and initialized at runtime. Pointer variables are supported by static programming languages and platform dependent programming languages, but reference variables are supported by dynamic programming languages and platform independent programming languages. These are the differences we can understand between pointer variables and reference variables. Then what about the sixth point? Clearly, C and C++ are following call by value and call by reference parameter passing mechanisms, but Java is following only call by value parameter passing mechanisms. Right, sir. Next one. In all programming languages, if we pass primitive data like int, long, float, double, and so on as a parameters to the methods, then the parameter passing mechanism is call by value parameter passing mechanism. In all programming languages, if we pass address locations as parameters to the methods, then the parameter passing mechanism is called by reference parameter passing mechanism. In C and C++, if we pass pointer variables as parameters to the methods, then the parameter passing mechanism is like which one? Called by reference. Let's understand it clearly. So next one is which one? Then after that, in Java, if you pass the reference variables as parameters to the methods, then still the parameter passing mechanism is called by value only, not called by reference. Why? Because in Java, reference variables are able to store address locations of the reference variables are able to store only object reference values, and it is not like which one? Address locations. Then after that, after completion of this, another thing is which one? So regarding this multiple inheritance in Java, multiple inheritance is not possible in Java. There are given some reasons. What are the various reasons I've given there? So data in object-oriented programming languages, data must be stored in the form of objects. By storing data in the form of objects, a set of rules and regulations can be hard to follow. The set of rules and regulations are called as which one? Object-oriented features. Nearly seven number of object-oriented features are available. What are the seven number of object-oriented features now? Class, object, encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, and message passing. Then what about the next one here now? Inheritance. If you observe there, it's the relation between classes. It will provide variables and methods from one class to another class. Here one class is called as superclass, parent class, or base class. And to another class, here another class is called as which one? Subclass, child class, and derived class. The main intention of inheritance is code reusability. The main intention of inheritance is code reusability. At basic level, two types of inheritances are available. What are the two types of inheritances at basic level? Single inheritance and multiple inheritance. What is this single inheritance and what is multiple inheritance? It's a relation between classes. It will bring variables and methods from only one superclass to one or more number of subclasses. But what about this multiple inheritance? Multiple inheritance is a relation between classes. It will bring variables and methods from more than one superclass to one or more number of subclasses. Java has defined extends keyword in such a way to allow only one superclass name, not to allow more than one superclass name. Right, sir. So next one, after completion of this, operator overloading is not possible in Java. So right, sir. Now first of all, here we have to understand this point clearly. And before this, multiple inheritance here are given clearly the definition of. But the point is which one? Why multiple inheritance is not allowed in Java? If you observe this point, no? Right, sir. All of you are listening now? People are sleeping, sir. Huh? So continuously I am speaking that all the points. My intention is I want to brush up all these things. One by one. If you are recollecting it now, then it will be a good thing for you. You may remember the concepts, but people are sleeping. Huh? It shows clearly how much hard work we have done in the yesterday's. Yesterday night in the sense okay, then before the day 31st night, but yesterday night nothing, right? Yes, sir, am I right? Still a hangover. The same faces I am seeing inside the class. By seeing your faces, I can clearly identify who has done it and who has not done it. Right. Anyway, just leave it. The occasion was completed. Now think about our present occasion, that is Java. Java is more perfect. If you know Java, easily you will get job. If you are getting job easily, every day is a festival. Think about it. But without Java, no festival. So while teaching Java, while listening Java, be active. Try to understand what exactly the points I'm telling to you. Yes, sir. I'm asking one simple question. You want to have dowries or not? Good dowries or not? No response. Not required. No. Don't want to take dowries. How many of you are not taking dowries, sir? Please raise your hands. Don't want to take dowries. Raise your hands. That is, your marriages are confirmed, I think so. How many of you wants to take dowries? Taking dowries. Yes. What about remaining members? No marriages. Huh? Right, sir. See, nowadays the trend is going on. People are taking inspiration for like which one from Narendra Modi, Rahul Gandhi, and what next one? Salman Khan, right? Good, very good. Salman Khan. Prabhas might be planning, sir. No, don't include him. Prabhas is planning. Recently, some statement was given by Krishna Vas. And maybe some other might be like great people, right? But don't take inspiration from them. In olden days, that might be worked out, but at present, the trend is not like that. No respect, nothing else, no family. Understand it? It's a single person in the sense, then the situation will be different. Take inspiration from Pawan Kalyan. Just I'm kidding, don't have budget. Right, sir. See, might be some statements are going on. Even I too don't like the type of statements. They're personal. That is totally their personal. So we are not having any rights to comment on it. But casually, I'm telling you, you're sleeping. That's why I'm activating you. That's why I'm using that name. Otherwise, I don't want to be like criticize any person. Because why? Because every person they're having their own strengths and they're having their own weaknesses. So, but we should not comment on it. That is totally their personal marriages and everything. How can you pointing this point? Why Rahul Gandhi is not getting married? Is it a question for you? Who required that question? What is the use of it? Why Pawan Kalyan has marriages like this? Who required it? I'm Java trainer. I have a lot of work. I need to think of it. You are the Java students. You have a lot of work. You have to think of your work. Who required this? So my personal opinion. Here also I'm telling. But it is unnecessary to talk about their personal. If they given any public statement, then we can think of it. Understand it? That I will think about it. See, like in India might be number of issues are going on. So one of the main issue might be recently, and the Indian government has taken some cap and some kind of policy. Might be allegations are going on in outside. Just you have to think of it. As you are the citizen of this country, definitely you have to think of it. So we are supporting or not supporting. Some opinion we are able to have. So that may point or not. But that we can think of it. But why Narendra Modi left her wife? Who required this? Who required this? What is the use of it? We don't require that. And so my point now. So that we are going to do, but personals not required. So I have my own personality. You are having your own personality. What is the requirement for me to talk about your girlfriend information? What is the requirement for you to think about my girlfriend information? So, but people are missing this information outside. Then immediately they are putting their fingers on other person's view on max. This is unnecessary. See, India is going on. Pakistan is available. India is not putting its finger in Pakistan issues. India has a lot of problems. At the same time, Pakistan is also not thinking about India internal things. Pakistan has a number of problems. Right? It is unnecessary. Right, sir? Anyway, now coming to our points here. Be active in our classes now, especially when I'm discussing about this overall view. One more thing I'm telling there. For a topic, only one time I can give the total view. Not every time can. Once this topic is completed, again if it is required any one or 2 points, then only I will talk about 1 or 2 points. Otherwise, I will not talk about this total concepts and again again. So this time is a final time that we have to listen carefully. So it's a good thing. Why? Because within 5 to 10 minutes of time, reviewing the total content in the cells, that will be good thing. You will recollect all the points. And I'm able to give one more point. If you are having any, if you forget any 1 or 2 points previously after listening that, but if I repeat this, you may recollect it and you may remember that. In that way, it may be useful for you. And moreover, one thing overall, that will be good thing, right, sir? Let us continue this content here. So, multiple inheritance. It's a relation between classes. It will bring variables and methods from more than one superclass to one or more number of subclasses. Understand it clearly, right, sir? But why multiple inheritance is not possible in Java? In both the superclasses, same variables and same methods with different values and different implementations. If we declare, if we use them in the subclass, then from which superclass these variables and methods are coming? That's a question mark. That will be like which one? Ambiguity stage. That will be like which one? Confusion stage. But Java is a simple programming language. You don't want to allow confusion related things, no? So Java, you don't want to allow the confusion oriented features, no? That's why Java, so like which one has removed the totally multiple inheritance. How Java was removed that multiple inheritance totally? Java has defined extends keyword in such a way to allow only one superclass name, not to allow more than one superclass name. That is the meaning of like which one? Multiple inheritance. Because of that only, it is not available. Next one, operator overloading is not possible in Java. So here also I am giving some clarity. Try to understand it. So object-oriented features are available. Nearly 7 number of features are existed. Where mainly we require polymorphism. Why? Because operator overloading is somewhat related with polymorphism. So what is polymorphism? Polymorphism means, poly means many and morphism means the structures. It's a Greek word. If one thing is exist in more than one form, if one thing is exist in more than one form, then it is called as polymorphism. If one thing is exist in more than one form, then it is called as like which one? No? Polymorphism. Understand it clearly. Next one. The main advantage of polymorphism is the flexibility. Two types of polymorphisms are available in Java. What are the two types of polymorphisms? No. First one is static polymorphism. Another one is like which one? No. Dynamic polymorphism. Static polymorphism and dynamic polymorphism. Observe this clearly. Next one is after completion of this. So if the polymorphism is existed, if the polymorphism is existed at the compilation time, then the polymorphism is called as which one? No. Static polymorphism. Next one is if the polymorphism is existed at runtime, then the polymorphism is called as which one? No? Dynamic polymorphism. That's okay, fine. Example for static polymorphism is like which one? No? Overloading. Example for dynamic polymorphism is like which one? No? Overriding. Up to this clear. After completion of this point, another thing is like which one? After understanding this, no? There are two types of overloadings, method of overloading and operator of overloading is available. If we declare more than one method with the same name and with a different parameter list, then it is called as like which one? No? Static polymorphism. That means method of overloading. If we declare a single operator with more than one functionality, if we declare a single operator with more than one functionality, then that polymorphism, then that overloading is called as which one? Operator overloading. Example I have given. In this example, plus operator is used as arithmetic addition. Here the same plus operator is used as like which one? No, string concatenation. So operator is very same. Operator is very same. But here we are getting like which one? There no two operations here, multiple operations here. So this type of thing is called as like which one? There no operator overloading. Why operator overloading is not possible in Java? Reasons are very clear. Operator overloading is rarely used feature in application development. It is a bit confusion oriented feature. Understand it? That's why Java is not supporting this particular thing. But there is a point about this. What is the point here now? Up to how much operator overloading is required for Java? Internally, it has done it. But it has not given any option for developers to perform operator overloading. Explicit operator overloading is not possible, but implicit operator overloading is possible. That's it. Next, one more point here I'm telling you clearly. Understand this. In C and C++, integers are able to take 2 bytes of memory, char is able to take 1 byte of memory. But in Java, integers are able to take 4 bytes of memory, characters are able to take 2 bytes of memory. So answers are very clear. In a C and C++, memory allocation for primitive data is not fixed. It is variable and it is depending on the operating system which we use. But in Java, memory allocation for the primitive data types is a fixed, irrespective of the operating system which we use. Some data types are given which are having some memory allocations in Java. Byte to 1 byte of memory, short 2 bytes of memory, into 4 bytes of memory, long 8 bytes of memory, like a floating 4 bytes of memory, double 8 bytes of memory, character 2 bytes of memory, boolean 1 byte of memory. So in C and C++, 1 byte of memory is sufficient to store characters data. Then what is the requirement to you assign 2 bytes of memory per characters in Java? Right, sir. Answers are given. In a C and C++, all characters are represented in the form of ASCII values. Where in C and C++ to store ASCII values, 1 byte of memory is sufficient. In case of Java, all characters are represented in the form of Unicode representations. Where in Java applications to store Unicode values, Java has to assign 2 bytes of memory. So what is Unicode and what is its requirement in Java? Answer are given. Unicode is one of the character representation. It able to represent all the alphabet from all the natural languages like Hindi, English, Telugu, Tamil, and so on. And it will provide internationalization support. Designing Java applications with respect to the local conventions is policies like which one now? Internationalization. Right, sir. These are overall the points here what I given clearly. We have to understand this now. Differences between this total content can be completed. Is it clear? So right, sir. Now wait 1 minute of time. I want to share this total document to you. Right, sir. This is totally classroom notes. What I typed. Some people are requested to me. So try to send your classroom type of document. That's why I'm trying to send it. But how much it is useful, just we can think of it. We can utilize this. And this diagram is somewhat related with the multiple inheritance content. Right. Now, right. Wait a minute. I want to show. I want to share this total documents and everything to all of you. Use the channel match. So from my mail directly, we are going to receive some number of mails after opening this Google Classroom software. So I will give procedure to you how to use this Google Classroom. Whatever the procedure I am saying, try to follow that. Let me create it. All these are my classes. Regularly I am taking classes now. These many classes are available. So for each and every class, I prepared a separate classroom. Right, sir. Google is giving that support actually. So now here I want to create a class. Wait, this is not a work. Now creating class is my work only. But I will give information to you how to join with the classes now. And right, sir. Wait a minute after. Right, sir. For our clarity purpose, I am keeping my photo also there. Why? Because you may not get any confusion for this. That's okay, fine. All of you one time take this quote, all of you. So, take it, take in this quote. Okay. Still, I have not given any procedure to you to join for this class. Wait a minute of time. Right. Let me. Right, sir. Whatever the diagrams and whatever the documents here we are having, I'm giving clarity on it. Total. Separately, I prepared this text document. Difference is no. Right, sir. Right, sir. Okay, fine. It's okay. Good. So, my work is complete now. I'm talking about your work, what we have to do. See this one. First of all, you have to open your Gmail in our browser, right? When we open Gmail in our browser, just here, Google Apps is available. Click on this Google Apps. If you click on Google Apps, scroll down, Classroom is available. Click on Classroom. Yes, sir. What we have to do? First of all, open your Gmail account. Then after that, what we have to do? Dots. That is which one? Google Apps. Click on it. Then panel is open. Scroll down. Classroom. The available. Click on Classroom. Then here plus symbol is available or not? Here plus symbol is available. Understand it now. If you click on plus symbol, here we are able to get two options. One is which one? Join a class, create a class. Don't click on create a class. Create class is the responsibility of me. But your thing is which one? Join class. If I create a class, you have to join for that. Basically, we are the students, right? I am the trainer. So I need to create a class. I created already class. Click on join class. If we click on join class, here what we are getting, a panel we are getting, where we need to enter classroom code. Whatever the classroom code now we have taken, just enter the classroom code. If you enter classroom code, join option will be provided. Click on this join option. Automatically, we are able to get like which were here. So this class here we are able to get like this. It will be open. Whenever it is open, after this clearly, how many things can I provided? One text document and some diagrams can I provided or not? So if you want to download this, then what we have to do? No, don't click on it directly. Don't click on it directly. Not here. Right. Anyway, 1 minute. Right. If you right click on it, right click on each and everything, open a new tab. Here we are getting this one. Here we have download option. Then only we can download the content. In the first text document, I have given total syllabus. How much syllabus I am going to discuss the total syllabus. Try to have a printout of it. You can tick this whenever I completed one topic there. If we click on this, automatically here we are able to get download of this. Like this, all the content we can download it and we can keep that content in our system. Maintain a separate folder in our laptop. Classroom data like this. Maintain a folder. Inside this folder, topic wise. This is like differences between Java and others. Topic wise, create individual folders. In that folders, try to keep these documents. Total, my classroom information will be available with you. Then the same thing we have to continue up to the end of this course. So we are able to get the total classroom details at our systems are clear. Then we can refer it whenever we require this. If you have any confusion for the diagrams, we can use the classroom diagrams directly. Yes, is it clear to all of you? Right. This is the process here I am following it. Try to use this particular channel. Right, just I created the channel just for the sake of your interaction purpose only. Just we can use the channel, so we are able to get clarity about. We are able to get my total content clear. Right, that's it, sir. Now this is about one topic. This is lengthy topic actually in introduction part. Then the next topic here, like which one? Java features. Right, sir. And can I take this on tomorrow? No, but I want to go for it on tomorrow. Even introduction is also not sufficient. Tomorrow, max, I will try to complete Java features. Then after that, I will go for Java naming conventions and Java programming format. I'll start one by one. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Tomorrow, see the remaining content. Thank you.